Hi, this is the next of my videos about ME. In this section I'll look at the term CFS and examine whether or not this is the right name for the condition, and I'll have a look at how I am personally affected by fatigue or exhaustion in order to demonstrate this. Firstly, this symptom is often described as fatigue. I don't think this is the best way to describe it. It gives the impression that the patient is a bit worn out or weary, or may have overdone it a bit and just needs a good rest. This generally isn't the case. It's more like complete exhaustion that is often the aftermath of a virus or another cause that the body doesn't recover from even with plenty of rest. It's also perfectly possible to be totally exhausted and lacking in energy, but not tired when you're in this state. So in other words, this isn't ordinary fatigue. Ordinary fatigue may come before it, but it's something totally different. It's very important to understand this distinction if you want to understand ME or CFS. Secondly, I don't think the term CFS is a good description of the illness at all. It downplays and lessens the illness. It doesn't include a description of all of the symptoms that can affect a patient, such as serious muscular, immunological, cognitive and neurological symptoms, to name but a few. In fact, I think the term CFS distracts and averts attention away from all of these other symptoms. I'll look at the example of other illnesses here. If you hear the term MS, you might think, what's that? You might go away and read about all of the symptoms, and then you begin to associate these serious symptoms with the term MS, and rightly so. If you heard the name motor neuron disease, you probably think of Stephen Hawking and think that this is a really serious illness. However, the title CFS contains a description of an illness and gives someone who doesn't know very much about it the impression that it's just chronic fatigue, that that's all it is. But this is a false impression. It picks up on one symptom of the illness, wrongly describes it, and takes attention away from all of the other very serious and often totally debilitating symptoms. I think we need a better term that would include all of the symptoms covered by the illness. I think ME is probably a better term, as it doesn't draw the uninitiated to any particular conclusion. It's a term like MS which you can go away and read about and learn to associate a whole host of symptoms with rather than just one symptom. How does this fatigue affect me? Well, I'm totally exhausted all of the time. I have very little energy to do things, and when I do manage to do something, it takes me a prolonged period of time to recover. I can barely manage to do the basics for myself on a daily basis. I spend most of the day in bed. I'm only out of bed for a few hours a day. If I try to stay up longer than this, I get increasingly short of breath and am literally overwhelmed by the need to lie down. It's like gravity turns against me. When I lie down, it's a great relief and my breathing eases. It takes me a good while before I can get up again. When I do manage to get up, I have very little energy and now struggle with the basics like cleaning my teeth and washing. I can't manage much beyond these activities and I have to spread these activities throughout the day so I can manage to get them done. Beyond these basics, I read a bit of a newspaper, watch a bit of TV for no more than a couple of hours a day. If I watch a DVD, I watch it in stages. I use my computer for a few hours a week. All of my washing and cleaning and a lot of basic admin is done by other people. I can't manage to leave the house very much. I only go to a doctor's appointment every couple of months, which totally wears me out. Everything has become a struggle, and this has been a gradual onset over the last 15 years or so. It's difficult to tell whether I'm getting any worse from month to month. I often have to think, could I do this 6 months ago? And I gradually find that I'm losing the ability to do things. Literally everything has become a marathon effort. It's different to just being tired. Often I don't feel tired, especially if I've had a good night's sleep. I simply have no energy. Trying to push myself through this just wears me out even more and causes me to relapse, which ultimately leaves me worse off, which I don't recover from. I have to try to do things at a sustainable pace and pace my activity and treat the illness like it's a marathon rather than a sprint. Unfortunately, you can't outrun it. The best way I can describe the exhaustion is when you might have had a particularly busy day or week, or a stressful time, and you slump on the sofa at the end of it and feel like you can't do another thing. Now times that by about 10 and imagine you're continually in that state. As I've said, I don't think the term CFS conveys the kind of exhaustion that people with ME experience, and it certainly doesn't describe or even hint at the existence of other very serious and disabling symptoms. The term exhaustion or abnormal fatigue would probably describe my apparent fatigue much more accurately, but even this wouldn't include a description of all of the other symptoms that I experience. So for these reasons, I think we should adopt a more inclusive and accurate name for this condition. I'd be very interested to hear of anyone else's opinions on this, or of anything else to do with the illness in general. So if you have something to say, please leave a comment or write me a message and I'll try to reply to you, although it might take me a little while to do this. Alright, I'll leave it here for now. I hope this has been of some use to you.